Okay, so if you're watching this, you should have already done the adding, subtracting, and multiplying. Today we're talking about powers of monomials, which means I have something that has an exponent, but now I have a second exponent. When we have this, we take our two exponents and we multiply them together. So looking at number 1, I'm going to say x to the second times 5. 2 times 5 is x to the 10th. When we have two letters, we do each letter separately. So 7 times 4 is m to the 28. 4 times 4, n to the 16. You can go ahead and do number 3. It's important that we know that c, how the c doesn't have an exponent right now. It's really like saying there's a 1. So 1 times 3 would be c to the 3rd. 2 times 3 would be d to the 6th. On our next examples, it throws in a coefficient. Okay, when I have a coefficient, I take that number and I'm going to raise it to the power. And you can type this in your calculator. So I'm saying 5 squared. It's important to know that 5 squared is not 5 times 2. It's 5 times 5, which is 25. I take my coefficient, raise it to the power, so 5 squared, and then I simplify my variable. So I take x to the 7 times 2. 7 times 2 is 14. I didn't give myself a ton of room there, but that's okay, it fits. Let's do one more, and then I'm going to turn you loose. Let's do one that we had some issues with today. It's super important. We'll do the one right underneath it. That when I have a negative, when I type that in my calculator, I'm typing it in parentheses. Sometimes if I don't type it in parentheses, my calculator will give me the wrong answer. And just to make sure that you know how to type that in, if I'm typing -4 to the 4th, I'm going to use parentheses, -4. To get that exponent, I'm going to use this arrow key right here that is right underneath the division symbol. Type that, it'll bump me up a level, 4, and press enter. So -4 to the 4th is 256. So 256, then I'm going to multiply my exponents. So 3 times 4 is going to be c to the 12. 4 times 4 is going to be d to the 16. Give number 5 through 9 a shot. Check yourself before you move on. So when we start looking at that mixed practice, we're going to add in a few different things. Not only do I have a power rule, and we know how to do that because I'm multiplying those exponents. So x to the 3rd times 3 is going to turn x to the 9th. Y to the 3rd times 3 is going to turn y to the 9th. But then it throws in this multiplication. So when I'm doing mixed practice, I want to do the power rule first, which is when I have an exponent on the outside for there. We multiply our exponents. And then I'm going to do any multiplication. And when we multiply, we add our exponents. So x to the 9 plus x to the 1 is going to be x to the 10th. 9 plus 2 is going to leave me y to the 11th. Okay? Do the exponent on the outside first. It doesn't matter if it's a fraction. We know how to type fractions with alpha y equals. Then do whatever multiplication. And then we have some that adding, and subtracting. So after we would have done, so let's work through this step by step. So I have 2 to the 3rd. 2 to the 3rd, which is 8. 8 2 times 3 is a to the 6th plus a to the 4th times 3a squared. Now I've done my power rule. Now I'm going to multiply, and I'm just multiplying these. Okay, so I have 3 times a coefficient of 1, which would just be 3. A to the 4th, a to the 2nd is when I add my exponents. So I'd say a to the 6th. So I have 8 a to the 6th plus 3 a to the 6th. So my last step is we're going to do any adding or subtracting. It's important to remember, and our most common mistake is when I add or subtract, I have to crayon this in there, my ending does not change. If I gave you 8 quarters and 3 more quarters, you'd have 11 quarters total. So if I'm giving you 8 a to the 6th and adding 3 more a to the 6th, you would have 11 a's to the 6th. Okay, finish out through 15. If you haven't checked yourself already, make sure that you're pausing to check yourself. We're going to skip the figures and go on to that homework page. Just the bare problems. We're going to skip the shapes. Get busy.